Hello, I'm Mark Turn from PersonalDevelopment.Training. Today in this short video I'll share with you what it means silencing your inner critic. Do you ever think you are not good enough? Do you criticize yourself for everything you do, no matter how well it goes? For some people, this voice is all too real. It may feel like the voice of their inner critic telling them they're not smart enough or they can't be successful. This type of self-sabotage often stems from the fear of rejection or failure. Silencing your inner critic is a critical step to unleashing your self-confidence, happiness and personal power. It is important to understand what it means silencing your inner critic because it can affect our self-confidence and self-worth. Silencing the inner critic can be very difficult and requires you to understand his message, what he is trying to tell you. What does it mean to silence your inner critic voice? What does it mean to silence your inner critic? To silence your inner critic means to make the voice in your head stop telling you that you are not good enough. This is a fairly simple statement, but it can be a very difficult task. As we have seen, when your inner critic speaks to you, it tends to give you negative opinions about yourself and constantly tells you that you're not good enough. Then you start focusing on your collapsing self-image, self-esteem and self-confidence, and all this builds obvious mental barriers to your happiness and success. All of this can happen quickly and unconsciously, and you could find yourself there in a very short time and without realizing it if something in your life turns particularly wrong and you don't have the strength and time to react in the right way. Why can't I stop my inner critic from talking to me? Quieting your inner critic is not easy. You can't stop your inner critic talking to you because it is the voice of your own self-doubt, inner fear and shame. Your inner critic won't stop when you tell it to stop because you created it in your mind for a reason, and until you face that reason, he'll keep yelling at you. You are often struggling with your inner critic because it comes into play when you are trying to achieve some goals that it thinks are not aligned with your survival. But of course you want to reach them more and you will try harder. This will only get more effort from your inner critic towards you. And this conflict will get harder. The inner critic comes from a survival need and is deep-rooted in your subconscious. He's trying to help you and he will keep communicating, equals criticizing, until he will think you will be safe. So you have to stop fighting and engage to understand how the message of your inner critic is somehow for your survival and your good, in its intention. Stop falling and face the message. Silencing your inner critic requires that you stop following this process and take the time to reflect on what your inner critic is saying and why it's saying it. The first step to silence your inner critic is to ask it what it means for you. It can be difficult to hear what your inner critic is saying because it's of course overwhelmed by self-doubt and negative thoughts. But once you listen, you'll be able to see which thoughts are useful and which ones are not. You can then filter these thoughts and understand which ones are at the root of your doubt and are holding you back. To silence your inner critic you can do many things ranging from actively ignoring it, responding the right way, and even making it work for you. It's an inner quest towards the self-mastery of your thoughts. What are some positive effects of silencing your inner critic? If you are currently struggling with the inner critic, you'll find that the first effect of silencing it is that you'll feel less anxious and more in control of your actions. Silencing this voice will lead to a more positive mindset and being able to focus on the task at hand. It will be easier for you to see your right path and your decision-making process will require much less effort. You'll stop second-guessing your decision, so your action will become more determined and of much greater impact. When you'll be able to tame your inner critic, you'll experience another primary effect. You will feel more confident and prepared for the common situations where your inner critic is currently activating and requires you to deal with it. Your confidence will be boosted by the fact that you are able to silence your inner critic and you won your inner fight. So you'll take more in charge of your life and it will be easier for you to reach your goals. You'll also be able to live your life fully, enjoy your life and live every moment to the fullest. Silencing your inner critic is an essential step in your inner path toward the expression of your full potential, and you won't be able to master your inner self and reach inner peace without dealing with your inner critic. Now, take 5 minutes and imagine all the recurring situations that usually trigger your inner critic. How would be your life if you were able to silence it and confront your challenges with your full resources? In the next video we'll see what strategies we can use to get rid of your inner critic. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it or found it useful, I invite you to give it a thumbs up. Now, if you're ready to overcome your inner critic and get a head start towards developing your self-confidence, while learning to have more courage and set your path towards unleashing your personal power, take action now and enroll in my free 30-day self-confidence challenge. Click the link in the video description below and visit us at www.thesolution2.com/freeconfidence. See you in the next video.